The Hangar Z podcast welcomes pilot Blake Farris and TFO Brad Baer of the Las Vegas Metro Police Department.
So I was the first one arriving. I remember going down the freeway and I see the air unit beat me to the call. I was like, okay, cool. And where the house was positioned was like down at the end of a one-way street and at the end of a cul-de-sac. And all I had was the guy was outside with a weapon. I didn't know it was a gun or nothing. And as I'm coming down the street to make a right-hand turn on the cul-de-sac, the air unit arrived. And right before I was making that turn, he's like, hey, he's got a long gun. He's pointing towards the end of the street.
Wow.
He was set up in his truck.
Remember now.
He was set up in his truck. He had ammo cans, and he was pointed right where I was about to turn. And I came to a screeching halt.
Welcome to the Hangar Z podcast, brought to you by Vertical Helicasts and partnered with Vertical Valor magazine. The 2025 Blades of Valor tour continues in Las Vegas, Nevada, visiting Las Vegas Metro Police Department Air Support Unit. Las Vegas PD has an incredible hangar located on North Las Vegas Airport. This unit covers 8,000 square miles of Clark County, Nevada, with a population of 2.3 million. 70% of Nevada's population resides inside Clark County. Add 40 million visitors a year, and this unit has a great deal of responsibility in both patrol functions and search and rescue. With only 5 aircraft, they flew over 4,000 patrol hours and responded to 91 rescue calls in 2024. It is not unusual to complete a rescue in the snow-covered mountains, respond to a rescue in Lake Mead, and then handle a pursuit all in the same shift. Our conversation with pilot Blake Farris and TFO Brad Baer was fascinating. We discuss training, unit dynamics, the mixed fleet of aircraft, mission profiles, and the full-time search and rescue team located inside the hangar facility. Brad shares an impactful story working as a patrol officer where having a skilled aircrew overhead kept him safe. He knew exactly where he wanted to work someday, and now he is living his dream. Be sure to watch for 2 articles by Brent Bundy about Las Vegas Metro's Air Support Unit in Vertical Valor magazine. Special thanks to Airbus and Massif for the incredible support of this year's Blades of Valor tour. We could not do this tour without them. Thank you to our sponsors, Metro Aviation, CNC Technologies, and Airbus.
Welcome to the Hangar Z podcast, brought to you by Vertical Helicasts. The Hangar Z podcast is the first and only podcast dedicated to promoting and exploring the personnel and equipment behind the missions in public safety aviation.
Still southbound, skidding to a stop. Stand by here. Looks like you're getting ready to bail. Heads up, guys, bailing. Okay, the guy, he's running through the house, jumping the fence, through the shotgun, through something out. Grabbing the shotgun. Don't go over that fence. Don't go over that fence. Grab the shotgun again. He is armed. Stay there. Hold your position.
It's time for your Heli Life giveaway buzzword. Listen up and remember this word because you'll need it to enter for a chance to win exclusive Heli Life gear. Ready? This episode's buzzword is dispatch. Visit contest.verticalhelicasts.com to enter the buzzword.
Welcome to the Hangar Z podcast, brought to you by Vertical Helicasts, partnered with Vertical Valor magazine, and we're on the 2025 Blades of Valor tour, sponsored by Airbus. Now we got all that out of the way. We're at stop number 3. We're in Vegas. We're in Las Vegas, Nevada, and we're with Vegas Metro. We're lucky enough to have a pilot and a TFO that's about to become a pilot on today. But before we get to all that good stuff, I noticed John Gray is, of course, with me, the creator of the Hangar Z podcast. John, we're on stop number 3, and you are looking good in that new flight suit. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so Massif came in big for us this year. We realized last year when we were on this tour, we're flying around with a bunch of agencies, and we go to Washington, D.C. and fly with the D.C. Park Police. And they put us in their loaner flight suits for one of the flights. And I'm like, you know what? This is probably something that we need to do. We talk about safety of flight a lot. And I realized I'm flying around in jeans and a polo shirt. And that was not acceptable in my professional career. And it shouldn't be acceptable now. So we reached out to Massif and said, hey, this is what we're doing. Could we partner with you guys? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. So they stepped up and provided flight suits for our whole crew, which has been great. Added operability for what we're doing. These pockets, the fit of these things is really nice, and just increases our safety threshold. And makes us look, more professional. So it's been awesome.
Yeah. Thank you, Massif.
Yeah.
We really appreciate that support. And I echo everything John said. And plus, we looked pretty silly in those flight suits in D.C. because they were way too big. And we looked at the photos later and went, man, look at this. And we took some heat. And it was legit. It's cops screwing with cops. And
I felt like, when you're a kid and you put your dad's suit on. That's what I felt like.
Hand-me-downs.
Yeah. So it's nice to have a fitted flight suit that's nice. And, very thankful.
So thank you, Massif. We appreciate it. And like we said, this is stop number 3. We've been to Texas DPS and Phoenix PD and now Vegas Metro. And we'll be heading to San Diego tomorrow. So it's to wrap it up. But it's been great so far.
Yeah.
We have learned an incredible amount of information, which means that our listeners are going to learn an incredible amount of information. And it's just really cool that the similarities, but the differences. And just in talking offline already, there's a lot of similarities that we're going to talk about today. But there's also some differences, and that's where it gets really interesting. So to join us today, we're joined by TFO Brad Baer.
Hello.
Hello, Brad, and soon-to-be pilot. We're going to talk about that. He's well into his training, passed the commercial recently.
Yep, passed commercial.
Good, and we'll talk about that program.
Yeah,
that's a big
huge.
step.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
How did you feel walking out of that commercial?
A lot of stress off my shoulders.
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, phew, all right, that's over.
What'd you do when you finished? Did you celebrate somehow?
I don't really know. I called my wife and she told me congratulations, and I think I went home early. That was my celebration. I was
melted.
just happy to be home.
Yeah.
Was it a full day? Did it take the full day to do
that? It wasn't that bad. It was probably about 5 hours total between ground and flying. It wasn't unreasonable.
I had an mid-afternoon start, started with the oral and then the flight test. And by the time I was done, it was dark. So, you wake up and you've got anxiety from the moment you start. And I didn't get done until, I don't know, 7 or 8 o'clock. I'm famished. I'm stressed. So, and I passed somehow. I leave and I'm so hungry. Like the closest food I can find, I go to Del Taco, and I'm pulling out of the drive-thru, talking to my boss to tell him I had passed, and a local motor unit is behind me and pulls me over.
Oh, nice.
I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah. So
That's memorable.
Yeah. He was nice enough to not issue me a citation.
You're lucky.
Because I was on the phone. But yeah, motor guys, you just never
usually
know.
not get a pass.
We love our motor guys, but sometimes we talk about that meme. It's got the 9 faces of the motor officer, and it's all the same face. The happy motor officer, the sad one, and it's all the same.
Here's your ticket.
If you want to tell them you passed, because it's like you want to tell everybody. You want to tell the drive-through person. And
That's right.
By the way, I just passed my commercial check ride.
Right. Yeah. So congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
that's great, Brad. That's a big step. And we'll get into the nuts and bolts of that and the process, because you're still in it, and we will talk about that process. But also joining us today is senior pilot Blake Farris. Blake,
hi,
welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Hangar Z. We're looking forward to having you. This is great. Ryan's been helping us get things lined up, and our photographer and videographer are out with other crews doing some stuff while we're getting this done. But we're looking forward to this conversation. So thank you for having us at Vegas Metro. Let's start with an overview and of the city and the department. And let's start with particularly the department, and then specifically air support. How many personnel, different positions, and then air support? Tell us about number of personnel and airframes and that sort of thing. You want to start us off here, Blake?
Well, we're somewhat unique, and we're a Metropolitan Police Department, so we're county sheriff and city police combined. Take care of all of Clark County, and not just the residents, but also, obviously, we've got a lot of tourists that come in, so it's not just the population of the city that we take care of, but also everybody that's here as a visitor. So
do you know what the influx of population is on a kind of daily basis, like from visitors?
Not anymore. I mean, it's varied so much over the last few years.
They do like a yearly count, and it'll be in the millions. Transit
daily.
Oh, sure.
I don't know about daily, but like last year, I think we had like 3 million people come.
Okay,
it's quite a few.
So we're unique in that because we're a tourist destination city. If you just do police per number of citizens in the county, then you can kind of it's not accurate as to how many people are there at any given time. So it's that number is quite a bit smaller when you kind of take that all into account.
Add to that, it was and probably still is one of the fastest growing cities in America. I mean, at one time it was far and away the leading city in growth, and It's just amazing when you fly in. Every time you fly in, it looks different here.
Yep.
I haven't been here in many years. It's been a while, and I can't believe how much it's changed. The Strip has changed. The surrounding areas, the roads have changed.
Sure,
It's
completely
amazing.
different picture when you see it.
Yeah.
From year to year to year.
Yeah, and you know, most places change, but not like this place.
Right. Oh
I
yeah.
mean, it's like huge plots of dirt that are no longer dirt.
Now you have the stadium, you have the Sphere, like
Oh,
they're
yeah.
just popping up like crazy.
The Sphere is one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
I love working
you know?
overtime there. It's like the best gig.
That I would be volunteering for that.
Yeah.
I mean, just
I worked the Eagles concert 2 weeks ago.
now you're making
cool.
me mad.
It was great.
Did you see U2 there?
Yeah, I saw U2, Eagles, somebody else I can't remember, and then Kenny Chesney's coming up. So
Yeah. Well, Eagles and YouTube, you can die and go to heaven now. I mean, those are two big ones,
Legends.
and for that location, just amazing. So, how many officers on the department?
I honestly don't
we
know.
fluctuate between 4,000 and 5,000.
I was gonna say, it's gotta be in the-
And I understand why you don't.
multiple
officers.
thousands. Yeah.
And some people that aren't in the law enforcement world might hear that and say, well, they don't know how many officers. Hey, none of us know today. There used to be that you could say, oh, we have this many. We have 5,228.
And you knew everybody.
Those days are gone. Now everybody's short. Everybody's short, down 10, 15, 25%, maybe more. And it's just reality in law enforcement in today's world. We understand that. So that's why it's not unusual to ask for a number and go, I don't know, what day is it?
Yeah.
You know, my old department, LA, we were close to 10,000 at one point. They're at 8,500 right now.
Oh, wow.
I mean, and people go, 1,500. Yeah, but think about 1,500.
Right.
Oh my gosh, even in a big city, that's a lot. Phoenix, their numbers are way down.
Yeah.
And it trickles down to all sorts of things, including the air unit.
Absolutely.
Getting personnel, keeping personnel, recruiting good people. The pool's getting smaller to choose from. I mean,
Right.
I'll bet search and rescue is dealing with that. I know you guys are dealing with that. We'll talk about that some more. But for your air unit, how many personnel here at Air Support?
So when I started, we had 24-hour days, 7-day-a-week coverage. So if you were on patrol and you asked for air support, you would get it.
Right.
And there was almost no downtime other than just the inherent downtime of coming back for fuel and the kind of things we still have now. But I want to say we're about 15.
Yeah, 12 to 15.
And not
depending on
everybody's a
TDYs
pilot,
and stuff.
not everybody's a fully qualified TFO. So, and then obviously, like any other thing, because it's that generational training, you have to have people finishing now to be qualified to teach that next group that comes through. It really hurts us because once we're down, it slows down that process, and you have to talk about, are we going to do outside flight training or outside training of some kind to be able to make that up, and so it's tough.
It's challenging. Yeah. So you said we used to be 24/7. So you're not anymore?
We're still covering 7 days a week, but we're finished at about 3 in the morning.
Okay.
And then we don't have another patrol ship up until
8:30.
right.
Cool. That's what I was going to ask. Where's the gap? You know,
Yeah.
where's the gap that? But if something happens big,
Yeah, we get called out.
You get called out,
Yep.
and you're in there, and you're flying, and both sides of the shop, search and rescue and patrol.
Especially
If something
search
comes
and
up.
rescue. They're almost exclusively on
Right.
call if they're not already working their shift for that day. And sometimes you'll have the patrol crew has to come back because they're also the rescue crew. Then they switch gears, get in that helicopter, and then they take off for a rescue.
Gotcha. Let's go switch gears to airframes. Talk about what do we got here?
Well, we've got an H-145.
Yep.
It's been a great helicopter for us. We're trying to get another one. I don't know if we're going to get funding for it. And then we've got a 125, and then we've got 3 MD-530s. So.
Cool. And the 145, that's a couple of years? How long you had that?
Since
Getting
2014, 15?
about 7 years.
Oh, 7 years
Yeah,
now.
we've had it for a
It was
while.
right
gosh.
before I started.
Wow. And I mean, I remember that was a big deal.
It was a big deal. It doesn't
uh,
seem like that long ago.
I
but-
know.
it doesn't.
I think
it's
your
amazing.
145 was the first 145 that I saw that was operational. You guys flew it out to, I think it was RSO's flying or maybe SBSO's flying. And I'm like, wow, that thing is awesome. And the paint scheme on there, the red tail, it's a good looking machine.
a cool ship.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
sharp.
We were talking to Ryan about it when we saw it yesterday. How we love the red tail. I just think that's smart.
It just looks cool.
It looks cool, and people know after a while. People know, that's the search and rescue bird.
Right.
So even if you're lost or something, you're the victim.
Yeah, it gives you a little bit of something
that's-
visual. Yeah.
I know who that is. That red tail, that's unique. They're coming to find me. There's a lot of pluses there, no doubt. while we're on the topic of these airframes, is pilots to airframes. Talk about that. I mean, does everybody fly everything? Do you fly certain aircraft? Is there a cadre for search and rescue? Talk about that real quick.
So we start with everything's geared towards patrol. So the first training you're going to do is in a 530 with the idea that you're going to fly a 530 on patrol. And our patrol ships are both identically outfitted 530s.
Yeah.
So we start with that. And then at a certain time in your pilot experience, then you're technically qualified in the unit per our unit policy to then cross-train over to the 125 and then into the 145 as you progress.
Okay. So by the end of it, once you've done all that,
the idea would be everybody is trained in everything. And
you could hop in.
Right.
And is that going to be reality?
I think so.
Yeah.
It just depends on whether people retire or people promote out of the unit. That's another thing that we deal with. Is just retention of people in the unit.
Right.
And we deal with those things as they come along.
Yeah. Very good. Mission profiles. Well, before we get to that, talk about equipment in the 530s, and then we'll talk about the 125, and we'll talk about the 145 later. But mission equipment.
Yeah. So 2 of our patrol helicopters, the 530s, are outfitted with the Churchill or the shot over now augmented reality system, and then we have the MX-10 camera balls, the Spectral Lab Night Sun. So they're both great helicopters. I personally love TFOing out of those helicopters.
Yeah.
They're so much fun, and from a patrol standpoint, when you're on the ground chasing somebody and you hear that 530 buzz overhead, you know what it is.
Feeling, so. Sure. It's got that unique sound. It's kind of like the Huey. Everybody knows the Huey sound. Guess what? Right. Everybody knows the 530 sound too.
Yeah, it demoralizes. I've actually been on interviews with suspects before I was up here, and they're like, "Man, when I hear that 530 or the helicopter come over, they're just like, oh."
They know. Oh yeah, they know. That's good.
Yeah, what I like about this conversation is the amount of experience that you two come into this conversation with. You've been in the unit for 2 years, and how long have you been here?
7.
So you've quite a bit of different experience levels with this different equipment. Can you talk about your early experience with the mission equipment, what the learning curve has been to kind of become comfortable with that, and how you like that equipment?
Thanks to our sponsor, Airbus. Airbus provides the most efficient helicopter solutions to its customers who serve, protect, save lives, and safely carry passengers in demanding environments. Its civil and military helicopters are flying all over the world, making missions possible. Visit airbus.com for more information.
Yeah, so when you first get up here, it's like drinking out of a fire hose, man. It's like, okay, they put you in the front seat, and it's like any patrol experience. Your first day in the field, you could be on a pursuit or something dynamic, and it's the same here, but compounded because you're learning new things. So you get up there, you got the hand controller for the spotlight and the camera, you've got your keyboard, you've got your screen, and then all of a sudden you're up in the air, and you're not exactly sure where everything is, because when you're on the ground, things are moving slower.
Yeah.
Things are moving slower. Up there, you're going 100 knots, and you're typing and you're moving, and all of a sudden you've crossed 6 city blocks, and your pilot's like, "Hey man, it's out the door." So it's a tough learning curve. We've got 2 new guys now that's like their first day up here.
Oh, wow.
And they're experiencing that yesterday. I kind of threw some scenarios with them, and they were like, you just kind of don't know what to do with your hands,
Yeah.
And it's just like, and learning that flow. So that's what they talk about a lot when you first come up in TFO is learn your flow. So you get a call, you write the details down, you tell your pilot, you get set up. And the faster and the better you are, kind of that multitasking and kind of like, what do you need to know now, and what do you need to do now? Because a lot of guys were like, So that's probably the hardest part. Once you get your flow down, once you figure out how to talk on the radio, because if you can't talk on the radio, like, what good are we?
Right,
we're just watching.
And
so
we try to tell new guys, all you have is your voice,
right?
Because you can't do anything.
That's right.
You can watch, and you know what you want to happen. You've got to make it happen by the things you say. So it's not even just saying the right things, but saying them the right way. There's a fast and an efficient way to say things, and then there's just plain talk. They both work, but we train guys even on, okay, don't say it like that. Don't say right there. You've got to describe it in a way that the guy on the ground knows what you're looking at, and then he can see it, and then he can.
Yeah. And you got to have like a personality. I tell the new guys, you have a personality of a dispatcher, because if we're working a dynamic call and we're the TFO and you're amped up and your voice has that inflection, it directly translates to the guys on the ground.
Totally.
100%. Yeah. So I tell the academy when I taught the other day, I tell these new guys, I'm like, no matter what is happening on the ground, you've got to talk like a dispatcher, because when they talk in your ear, they don't get amped up.
Yeah.
They talk the same level we're talking to you right now.
That's right. This pursuit's mildly boring.
Boring.
Yeah.
And then it calms, it slows things down.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah, it sets the tone for sure.
Voice inflection changes everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
From a dispatcher, it can do, and I've heard dispatchers get excited and they get talked to.
Or exasperated.
Yeah. And TFOs, same thing. It was, there's a time to,
And it's
most of
hard
the time to
because
stay calm.
sometimes it's adrenaline rush.
Oh, you're pumped. You want to
Right, sure.
scream.
Yeah.
And you can't. You just got to sound real cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes
You know?
you do need to amp it up, though, just
You
to
do.
get
A little
people in
bit.
gear.
Yeah.
And the example we give starts every single Hangar Z podcast. Kevin Means from San Diego. Don't go over that fence. Don't go over that fence.
Right. Yeah. The
That-
urgency.
That he saved that officer's life.
Right.
Period. There's no question. I mean, if that officer comes over that fence, he's getting shot with a shotgun.
Right.
And Kevin saved his life. And he made sure to tell him, this is not a request. This is not a suggestion. This is not, if I were you, I would do this. This is a don't do something.
Right.
And you could apologize later for raising your voice.
Sure.
But
I've had
he
to do
didn't
that a
have
few times.
to.
Yeah.
Yes, I have too. But Kevin didn't have to do that from that day. That
Yeah.
guy
Right.
thanks him to this day.
Of course, yeah.
Because he knows. He knows, wow, thank goodness Kevin said that and said it the way he did.
Mm-hmm.
When we had Kevin on for our for the 4th anniversary show. And we said, well, finally we get don't go over this fence on the show, you know, because he introduces, every show starts with his words and his tone. And I will say, he's one of the best TFOs there has ever been. In his tone, he never raised his voice. He was calm in everything, just calm and cool. Not that night.
Right.
And there was a reason for it. So we would show that to new TFOs and see this, listen to that.
And your guys know what you normally sound like.
Yeah.
And so when they
Yes.
hear that elevated
Yes.
presence or something in your tone, it kind of tells them,
It kinda locks them in.
This is something different.
It
right?
does.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
For you in patrol prior to coming up here, in your agency, were you guys pretty heavy with computer use as far as, en route, on scene, disciplining calls on the computer? And the reason I ask that is my agency was, and you're not on the radio a ton, and then all of a sudden you want to go to aviation, and now those buttons those don't exist anymore. Now your only means of communication is
Right.
on the radio. What was that like for you?
So I would say yes, we are pretty heavily computer reliant right now. Like everything you do is en route, arrive. Like you can do it all on our MDTs. So I would say it was a little bit of a transition, but prior to coming up here, I was in a plainclothes unit, and all we did was radio. We didn't have computers. So that definitely helped me transition to that communication side. Because as a team, a small team like that, all we could do was radio. So that definitely helped.
That's nice that you had that experience.
Yeah, but you get guys that haven't had that experience come up here, they definitely, you kind of have to nudge them like, hey, you probably should say something. Probably should say something right now.
Yeah.
Sorry to steal some questions here. What did you do as a police officer to prepare yourself to come up here? What did you study? Who did you network with? What did you do to make yourself a successful candidate?
So when I was in field training, well, to backstep, I wanted to come to this unit before I even hired on this department. That was my dream and that was my goal, to come to this specific unit. And when I got on with Metro and I got doing the police work, I was like, I love the police side of this. To be honest, I was a little afraid I wasn't going to, but I actually fell in love with it. And so the day I graduated field training, I went to my sergeant and I was like, hey, Air Sport's doing an orientation today. Do you mind if I go? And he's like, you've got 7 years till you're going there, pal. But I guess. So I'm like, okay. So I showed up down here and I just tried to meet the supervisors, and I would try to show up and do a ride along as much as I could. Try every 3 or 4 months. And then I came for another ride along and I asked the sergeant, I was like, what can I do to prepare to get this spot? And he just was like, oh, go do some plainclothes experience. I was like, okay. So I focused on that until I was qualified to come up here, and then I got the spot. So it was just showing face, working hard, staying out of trouble is probably the biggest thing. So
And there's some things in that background we'll get to here in
Okay.
a little bit
All right.
that about exactly what you're talking about. That's important to highlight.
Whatever Brad did was correct, because he was one of the most prepared from the start, feet hit the ground running trainees as far as being a TFO.
Yeah.
There was almost nothing you could tell him.
Well,
Man, I
that's-
don't have anything to give this guy.
just being a little nice.
Other than
Brad, that's a really good compliment,
appreciate
because
it.
that's the trainer right
Yeah,
there.
he was my trainer for a
it's
while.
odd that you get somebody that's so familiar. I mean, it's usually it's spoon feeding from day one, and we try to explain to people the hardest thing for us. So if you're in field training in patrol, you can, as a trainer, you can kind of go, okay, I'm going to drive, I'm going to do most of the talking, I'm going to run things. You just kind of observe what I do, and then maybe the next week you'll drive, and then I'll handle a little bit more. You can piecemeal those tasks out and go, okay, you've got a little more this week, and we can't do that. I mean, we're busy aviating and doing everything else, so you kind of don't have a choice as a TFO from day one. You've got to hit the ground running, and patrol when they hear you come over the radio, they don't know, well, it's a training unit. We'll give them some leeway. Right. It's the air unit. So when you call for the air unit, you want the air unit.
They have a level
product.
of service they expect and
right.
from us.
They absolutely
And
do.
so that could be the first flight, and you could get a shooting, you could get a pursuit, and you better be ready to at least do the bare minimum and get some good video and the other things that they expect.
Yeah. So his preparation really showed to you.
Yes.
I mean, day one.
Yes. Or it could just be experience. I mean, some people just have a comfort and a familiarity. Usually it comes from, I guess, patrol experience, but then we do have people that start more in investigations, and then they end up being successful as well. So
What did you find yourself doing in between flights? You know, you talk about reps and how important the reps are to become a proficient TFO. A lot of guys in between flights are continuing that rep gathering routine in one way or another. What did you do in between flights to help you?
I watched previous videos.
Okay.
Yeah, because we have all our videos from like dynamic events. Watch them. What would you say? What would I say? What was good? What was bad? And that's what I try to take away from it.
That's awesome.
It's just watching videos. It's like watching, like, play football.
Yeah.
You watch tape, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing for us.
Love it.
and you do have those phrases, that phraseology that you use, and so you pick up the way that we say things and go, oh, okay, I'm going to use that. That's a better way to say come around the corner, or he's underneath the covered parking versus, do you call it an awning, an overhang, a tree? What do you describe tree? Well, that's landscaping. He's in the landscaping.
Yeah.
So you can pick up those
cues,
that little verbiage that works better in the radio.
How important were those ride-alongs?
I don't think you can be successful in a unit like this without doing ride-alongs.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping you were going to say, and I kind of thought that, based on what you said, Blake, that those ride-alongs, you really get to see and hear, because the verbiage is so important, because that's all you do is communicate, that the seeing and hearing it, once you get here, it's like, oh, I've been here before. I just wasn't in charge.
Right.
I wasn't pressing the mic. I was in the back. But seeing it, hearing it, feeling it, very beneficial, huh?
Yeah, oh yeah. Like, I'm the kind of learner that I need to like do it myself and like be shown how to do it, and then I'll retain it. Like, you can't just tell me on the ground like, hey, this is how we talk. Right. So when I would go up on my ride-alongs, I'd see how the TFOs and pilots would operate, and I would just kind of absorb that.
Yeah.
There's a rhythm. There's a back and forth to it, and you start out in training. It's a little more, and we kind of keep it in you're handling things. I'm not really jumping in as much as we can, other than coaching and going, okay, here's how I would do it. And then you realize, well, once you're finished with training, and it's more synergistic, that you're just working together. It's one big crew kind of. You don't have to tell me, swing it out a little wider on this pass so I can get the camera down there. I know from your camera picture, I know what you need already, and I'm doing it without you having to say it. And
right.
But you have to get there. It's a process to kind of get there.
It's so important in a dynamic incident for you to understand that and not have to wait to be asked to do that. Because as a TFO, you're so focused on your job. If you're having to then give brain power to be like, hey, can you move this thing over?
Right.
I love that.
Yeah, your brain's a CPU. It can only do so much. Yeah. So if you can focus what you need on that, it's so much better.
Mine can't do a whole lot.
They talk about that.
Too. That's a little slow. A little dust off of
that myth of multitasking, and it's actually multitask processing at one time. And
the switch gears back and forth, back and forth very quickly and efficiently. And you brought up something that I think is really important. You called it a flow, and we called it the steps. It's exactly the same of what you described. And talk about the flow. What is the flow? Name them the steps. There's steps in your flow.
Sure, yeah.
Name them. And what that is, and then we'll talk about how important that is.
You thought there wasn't going to be a quiz.
Okay, I'm on the spot. So let me get my checklist out here.
You can if you want.
No, so it's not always the same, but for the most part, when you get a call from dispatch, we operate in area command, so most of the time we switch area commands. And so when you get a call from an area command, you usually tell the pilot right away, like, hey, we're going to this area command, and he'll point the helicopter and start going that way. And then I'll switch over to the channel, and the dispatcher will give me the details. So I'll start writing the details down, get the address, get it into the system, verify the address that she gave me or he gave me is correct, like I heard it right. And then I'll tell the pilot, like usually a major intersection, I'll be like, hey, it's this intersection. It's going to be a little bit northwest of.
Yeah.
And he'll be like, cool. So as we're en route, I'll get all the information from dispatch or patrol that I need. Sometimes it's a lot. Sometimes I've got enough. And then as we're arriving on the call, I try to direct the pilot into exactly what I'm looking at and what I need. And then from there, we'll work the call. So, it depends on what we're looking at. Like a car, we just got done an hour ago chasing a stolen car. So, that call was a little different. It was, where's the unit at? Where's the car at?
Yeah.
And then start looking, right? Because the car could have gone anywhere. We ended up finding it, chased the car to a different house. She bailed, got in the house, and K9 got her. So, the call evolves and the call changes, and you're changing airspaces, and even that call, we changed area commands because when one car leaves and goes to another area command, we have to change. So changing channels, briefing that area command on what's going on. So it's a lot going on as far as information sharing.
Yeah.
That's what I like to kind of like tell people, like, what does the TFO do? I'm like, I am an information sharer and gatherer.
It's a good way to describe it.
That's really all I can do is just observe and tell.
Yeah.
So
those steps, we just called it something different. We said follow the steps. Is, listen, hear the radio call, start writing it down, change frequency to where you're going, initial direction to the pilot. Now you look up the call in a book, in a map book when I was
remember
doing
those,
it.
yeah.
Sure.
I
And
don't
now
know
they're
what that looks
punching it into the Churchill. And then now it's nice because
I've
the
got that. It gives me a bearing, and it's beautiful. Yeah, just turn to that heading. That's great.
Blake's very happy because you don't have to say another word to him. You do. I know you do. But you don't have to. And it gives you a chance to listen for more info. But the reason I brought this up is those steps or that flow are the key to success.
Absolutely.
If people try and do 3 things at once in the beginning, if you're trying to, I'm doing this, I got to tell my pilot, no.
they snowball.
Take a breath and follow the steps.
Right. Or if there's any hitch in that system, if the address doesn't come up, something doesn't work right, now it just the machine grinds to a halt because that process got interrupted.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you follow the steps, follow the flow, that will get faster and faster with time and experience, and eventually you will be doing 2 things at once. Yep. I remember writing down and pointing. As I'm writing down, I'm not even looking. I know I got to go down there. I want the pilot to take me there, and I'm writing down, going like this.
Yep.
The 2 steps became 1 step. I get that. That's going to happen. But in the beginning, for someone who's never been up there, it's overwhelming.
Oh,
everybody
just
knows
being
it.
you're just uncomfortable being in the ship, and we have guys that get sick, and that can become an issue. And then you've got the wind in there. If your headset isn't working right and your audio doesn't sound right, we've got to take care of those physical things first. And a lot of times that just
compounds things.
Yeah, it screws the process up from the beginning.
There are agencies out there that don't have that flow or steps. I mean, I've talked to them. And I said, that's the first thing you got to do. It's so simple. You're doing them. I mean, they're doing them, but codify it.
Yeah,
and
if
put
you
it
don't
into the training.
put it into a followable flow.
Yeah, and then just if you can sit there and look at those steps, anytime. I go, okay, done. Now I know what I have to do. These 6 things for every call I go to. Like you said, it's going to change. You're going to a following or a car chase, there might be something different, but where you're assigned a radio call. And if those steps are codified and it's in that trainee's brain, you as a trainer can say, hey, slow down, follow the steps.
Right.
It's okay. The speed comes later. Mm-hmm. We don't have to be an F-16 today. We can be, a Cessna.
And you can speed that up or slow it down as necessary if you need to. And sometimes you will slow it down. It's close. So rather than we're going to arrive as fast as we can, okay, we can take our time on this one and give you some time to gather yourself. And so now we come up with a plan. We actually are doing something material when we get there. Yeah.
And now today's world, shot over mapping system, any mapping system, but shot over particularly, that takes a lot of that load off.
It does.
That's the great thing about technology, and there are negatives to everything too, but the great thing about it is from the TFO perspective, you just unloaded me on a lot of responsibility. Sure. Now, it can lock up and you're going to have to navigate by hand. I get all that, but it changes the steps a bit. It lets you get your eyes out or in the camera or out the window or looking at navigation where, before you had to really, okay, do you see this? Do you see this? Okay, go to that intersection. Okay, we're going 3 south, 2 west, 3rd house on the south side. It's like, I can save a lot of words now by having that shot over.
And you can be focused on the camera or whatever you need to find something.
Yeah.
There's so many times we find people so far out on the camera,
exactly.
like, hey, it's taking off. Yeah. Because we're done with those steps, and I'm just looking.
It's great.
Thank you to our sponsor, CNC Technologies. CNC Technologies, serving law enforcement, government, and military markets with tailored mission solutions, system training, and live 24/7 support with CNC.live platform. Explore more at cnctechnologies.com.
And we're fortunate that we've adopted it here as part of the practice, whereas this was a unit, because it's a great place to work. We had people that were in the unit itself for decades, and it took a long time for those guys to get to retirement age and then end up retiring, that we were able to, we have a lot of new blood. I don't think there's anybody in the unit that was here much longer than before. I'd say 2018 was a big turnover year.
Yeah.
And so that embracing that new stuff it's a lot bigger part of what we do now versus before. We've been doing it like this way for years.
Yeah.
If this works, stick to the book.
Right.
And, what do you do when that map goes out? What are you going to do? And it's like, well, yeah, but it kind of never does.
That's right.
So
it's very dependable.
Sure, you train for that contingency, but rather than go, well, we're going to do it the old way because that's what we've always done, I think now we all embrace that and start training that way. Because like I said, from the day one, if it's a shooting or a pursuit, you want to have that video because now we're used to it. Now our management is used to it. If you don't come back with nice video, it's like, well, why not?
Yeah,
what happened?
they're kind of paying us now for video, honestly.
Right.
Like that's what they want.
Yeah, we're showing what's happening from a different. Everyone's got body cams for the most part, but when you have that one aerial perspective, it changes
everything.
You can see where everyone's at positionally, and we talk about liability reduction from the city's perspective. I know personally we were over quite a few incidents that we recorded that saved the city the hassle of having to go through and fight these false claims of whatever.
Right, and it might just be exoneration is what you're there for, and a lot of times we've done that where no, that mistake wasn't made, it was done this way, because you don't sometimes body cam you don't get that clear
full perspective.
You're right there, but sometimes it's jostled around or it's aimed in a funny way. If we've got that overall shot, it's beautiful. So we train that way too. We go, all right, everybody's safe. Now let's zoom out, kind of get the whole picture. Now let's see what do their approach look like. Where do they have everybody arranged on the approach, and that's been helpful, I think, for
absolutely
a lot of people up the chain.
Yeah. Technology is great. It's changing the job, but you still need. I think we would all agree. You still need somebody trained to do the talking. I mean, you can show the best video on the planet, but if you don't have somebody providing the tactical insight and the cautions and hey, don't go over that fence.
Right.
And, your officers are going to get hurt, killed, and citizens are going to get hurt and
absolutely,
killed.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. Now, that technology makes it easier for you to know where you are at or situational awareness or find somebody, but it still takes a trained communicator, an information gatherer, and like you said, Brad, that I love that analogy, by the way, that bring information in, share it out. It still needs that.
Right.
With all the best technology in the world, it still needs that. And that's cool.
That's highlighted in the drone operations, right? We have this really cool piece of technology that has all the capabilities that we have, or a lot of them at least, but they're missing the key element of that person's ability
perspective.
to communicate. They can't communicate, or they don't have the experience that we do. We've talked a lot about, I believe it's essential that we bring these operations together and we learn from each other. They learn how to communicate in the ways that we do. We learn how to operate the technology in the ways that they do. And then you've got, this exchange of information that makes us all better.
Sure.
So I'm excited to see that, become norm in our industry. But I feel like right now we're not. We're on two separate sheets of paper. From the way people are selected, some agencies are like, hey, congratulations, you're a drone operator. And that person has no business being they're not used to talking to the radio. Whatever the reason is, they're not well suited to be in that position. You think about all the efforts and steps we put into selecting a proper TFO and why we do it, and a lot of it has to do with CRM and crew dynamics. But communication, like you said, is the most essential part of what we're doing. If you can't tell that person what you're seeing or why you're seeing it, then what good are you? Right. So sorry for that tangent.
No, it's the number one thing a TFO does is communicate. That's just a fact, and what we've talked about many, many times is that drone operator is a pilot TFO. They're both. They're doing both. Now, in some cases, there are teams. I've seen that where there's somebody operating, somebody that's doing the communication and directing and doing talking. I get that. But that person needs to know how to communicate. And let's face it, we can all attest to this. The communication from 1,000 feet is different from the
It is.
communication at
Certainly.
ground level.
Certainly.
And if you don't acknowledge that from day one as a drone operator, you're behind the curve. You are so far behind the curve you may never recover because it's part of it. And more units we are finding through the podcast, York in Canada comes to mind. Those drone operators are being trained by TFOs.
That
Not
makes a
how
lot
to
of
fly
sense.
that drone.
They should.
A 12-year-old could fly that drone. I mean, it's not hard. What is hard is what the TFO job,
Yeah,
the communication.
what are you saying?
So they're
Yeah.
training them as TFOs. Here's
makes
how
a
you
lot of sense,
communicate.
yeah.
You got to be clear and concise. You can't stand there and talk for 5 minutes. Sometimes you got to say, "Don't go over that fence." Sometimes you got to say, "Stop, back up." You got to have inflection. You got to. There's so many things we couldn't even talk about it in the time we
There's
have.
something about having your physical body in the place as
Yeah.
well. So if you're on the ground, I mean, you might have pretty good orientation, but there's something different about your physical body as they're looking out the window.
Watching it.
Yeah.
And so you realize, okay, this is this side of the building, that's that side of the building.
Yeah.
Even if you have a great set of technology so that picture is clear,
Yeah.
it's just different when you're looking out yourself and using your own eyes to kind of augment what you're seeing through
Yeah.
that camera picture.
I've had some drone operators that I've provided training for, and I would tell them, I'm not here to teach you how to fly the drone. I don't know how to fly a drone. I'm here to tell you how to talk.
Yeah.
I got some experience in that. And they go, well, how to talk? You're talking from that perspective,
Yeah.
not where you're standing. What's the picture of? Oh, it's from the drone. Exactly. It's not your eyeballs looking at, oh, there's John. He's wearing a blue flight suit. He's got a Hangar Z gray hat on. He's very handsome. I mean, I can see that and describe it easily. But now you're giving the perspective up there, and they go, and I say, it's different. It's completely different. That's why TFOs, many struggle. Some can't get it. Some
Right.
can never do that. Some
If
some
we ever
can.
get complaints from patrol, it's always about communication.
Yeah.
Like they'll be like, "Oh, you guys are down for maintenance," which is like always the joke. But like
Yeah.
anytime I've gotten a phone call, like, "Hey, what happened?" It's always about the communication.
Always. I agree. It's just so important, and that's why you hire communicators to be tactical flight officers, and drone operators should be hired as communicators too. It needs to be one of the pieces of that puzzle, and they need to come to people like you that are sitting in that TFO seat, and I know you do it too, as well, Blake. But and talk to you and say, well, here's a scenario. What would you have said here? Well, I would never say this, but I might say this or this. That kind of thing, that kind of debrief, that kind of placing yourself in the scenario is something you deal with every day. They don't, and they didn't in patrol. So why should we expect them to just hand you a drone? You can fly it. You're certified by the FAA. That's wonderful. Now go do your job.
Right.
Well, hold on.
We do this a lot. We come back and we do debrief because we have video. We can watch it and go, what would I have done differently?
Yes.
Hey, you take a look at this. Usually we're just bragging like, hey, come look at this
Yeah.
kill that we got. But
That's
a lot of
good.
it is
That's
just to
good.
go.
I did that 2 days ago. I had a foot pursuit by the hospital, and I came back and watched the video. We got the guy. Everything was fine. But I'm like, you know what? I should have said, instead of giving an address, I should have been like, hey, that northwest intersection.
Yes.
Because that is so much different for the guy going code to a call. He doesn't have time to punch in a number.
No. Yeah.
He doesn't have time to punch. Like, I gave the number for dispatch because dispatch always wants it.
Sure.
But, like, I should have told him at northwest corner of that intersection.
Exactly.
Because
Excellent
as he was
example.
coming down, I had to be like, left, because he didn't know the numbers.
Excellent
And that's
example.
not on him. That's on me. So
Now, how many drone operators understand that when they first get in there? None. I mean, that perspective is new to you. As a patrol officer, you're all about having that address. All about having that address, those numbers. And you get in the air and you realize, no, sometimes it's better to say northwest corner or go to the northwest corner. It's 3 from the corner on the north side of the street. You see the yellow house with the green Suburban. I mean, that's better than an address.
Yeah.
But you got to learn. You learn that,
And
by
that's
coming
a
here.
routine. Doing that debrief, that's a routine part of what we do, whether it's showing off the cool video we got or you're actually doing it for an intentional debrief to do better.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's because they don't train with us and they don't come through here, at least in our agency.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's something that they do to then try to improve on what
Yeah.
happens next time, but we definitely make that part of both in training and then after. I mean, we still do it.
Yeah.
It's a mark of a pro, in my opinion.
And you
It is.
inevitably see something you should have done
Every
differently,
time,
or
Every
man,
time.
I slipped around the building
Yeah.
on that corner, and then now you're watching it on a big screen. It's much more clear. It's a bigger than the one that you're looking at in the ship.
Yeah.
So you always find things like, oh man, that's
I
when he
lost
got
sleep
around
for
the
a week
building.
because I lost a car one time.
Yeah.
I lost sleep for a week. Like I thought about it
Yeah.
all the time.
As you
You
should.
really,
Yeah.
you thrash yourself
Yeah.
over mistakes that you make.
I can think of mistakes that are talked about that were made 15 years ago that are still talked about today when I get together with the person that was in that same
Yeah.
aircraft as me, losing somebody and going, how did we do that?
Right.
How is that possible? Do you remember that? Do I remember it? I mean,
some of it, there's so many of those things that are intuitively you want to zoom in. You want to see closer.
Yeah.
You want to see more detail.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so you have to, you got to open it. Whether it's physical, you're opening up your personal view and what
Yes.
you're looking at, or whether it's zooming that camera out.
That's right.
And that's not intuitive. You think, no, I want to zoom in. We'll see more detail.
yeah, it looks
Oh, no.
better.
We got
It looks cooler. It looks better. It's
Yep.
vivid.
Yep.
Same thing with the night sun. If you were working on for the night
Oh,
sun,
yeah.
you want to zoom it in because the colors jump.
Right.
But then he makes a hard left and he's out of your
Yeah, he's
view,
gone.
and,
Yeah,
and,
he's
you,
gone.
and you can't
Yep.
find him again. So that you keep the beam wide. It's the same thing we're talking about here with the camera, your eyeballs, the night sun. I mean, it's the same philosophy. But you got to. Sometimes we learn things
Right.
the hard way.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we all have.
Oh, yeah.
Learn
Yes,
some of those things
definitely.
the hard way. But
One of our TFO trainers wrote, "When in doubt, zoom out" on the whiteboard.
Yeah, that's
in the
great.
hangar, you
That's
know?
a good-
Yeah, we should write that one down.
Yep. That's
Yeah,
going up
It's
for
a good
sure.
one. But I remember one call that I'll bring up because I think it's relevant here. We had a suspect contained within a backyard, and I don't remember what the want was, but I had him on the camera. I was following on the camera. We're trying to, obviously set up containment to get him in custody. And one of the ground units asks me to look out the window and tell him if the perimeter was good. I'm actively following the suspect. I knew better than to take my eyes off the suspect and look out the window and tell him that their perimeter's fine or whatever. But I didn't. I came off the camera, looked outside, said whatever I said,
Came
come
back,
back on.
gone.
I didn't see anything. He was actually hiding. I'm like, oh, I know he's under this thing. Well, we lost him. They go in and search the backyard, not there. They go back and review the video, and it took a fraction of a second for him to slip out from where he was last seen, and I didn't see it. 'Cause
Isn't
that
it
was-
amazing
that was
how they
I have
painful.
a video of that
Yeah.
exact scenario. I
Yes.
looked out for half a second
Yep.
to see if that was a patrol car because they didn't have their overheads on. I came back and he was gone.
Yep.
And I could not believe it. And I watched the video and he just button hooked it and was out of my view. Couldn't
Yeah.
believe it.
And we train them,
all the
hey,
time.
if you got to look away, no problem. Just tell me to cover it in
Yeah.
the meantime.
Right.
Right.
And I'll worry about whether the perimeter's good or
Yeah.
whether that cop that's arriving, does he need to make a left or a right? Don't take your eyes off that.
Yeah.
And once you get them, because inevitably they'll find that,
Yep.
that
Murphy's
time.
Law is
Yep.
alive and well
Yeah.
in law enforcement. I tell that to recruits.
For sure.
And half of them go, what's Murphy's Law? I'm like, oh, boy.
Oh, jeez.
I'm getting old.
Yeah.
But we, the ones that do know it, they go, oh. I said, trust me. I don't care what unit you're in, patrol, SWAT, canine, air support. You look away. When you're assigned to look at something, you look away for a split second when you shouldn't be. You're going to come back someday, and whatever is there is changed. That door was open, and now it's closed.
Yep.
The window was closed, and now it's open, and there's a guy running, and you don't know it. And
And they'll
made a fool
remember.
of.
You'll remember that, and they'll remember that forever.
Oh,
That-
yeah.
It's not the 100 catches you made.
Oh, no.
It's the one that got away that they'll go, yeah, I remember that one time you let them slip
Yes.
and the guy jumped
Oh,
the wall.
yeah.
The worst
No
part about
doubt.
that call,
That's cop work.
I remember they go in and search the backyard, and when they're done, they're like, "You're confident I know he's back there. You're 100% sure because we can't find him." Like that feeling, that stomach sinks into your feet. You're like, "Oh my gosh, what just happened?"
But on the
You
flip
know?
side, when you are 100% confident and they do find him in the backyard, you're like, told you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You
Told
send
you.
them back.
Yeah.
Well, my dog didn't hit. Well,
Go back and try again.
be that as it may. Yeah. Can you
Yeah.
go back and check one more time?
Yep.
So the lesson learned is never say 100%. Always say 99.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we know. Here
Yep.
we are talking about it. We've all had it happen to us. Where you in your mind are 100% sure, but it's never 100%.
We hear that.
because
He had
somebody
to
can
have gone this way.
Yes.
He had to have gone this way.
Oh,
I'm
my
like,
gosh.
oh, boy.
Canine, we heard that all the time. He's going to be right here.
Yep.
And we'd find him right over there.
Yep.
It was completely opposite of where they said he was going to be. Why? Because people double back. People do things, and you're not thinking about that because you're in the moment, and your tunnel vision
Oh,
is,
sure, yeah.
is-
You're
is a
focused
hard
right in.
thing.
Yeah.
That was a great conversation. Great
Yeah.
conversation. We've been talking for a while now. I mean, time's flying by already. So let's learn more about the two of you. And your seniority has its privileges here.
Oh, sure.
Blake.
Okay.
So we're going to go with you first. Tell us about your journey to Las Vegas Metro and the eventual journey to airborne law enforcement.
Thank you to our sponsor, Metro Aviation. Metro Aviation, the world's largest family-owned aeromedical operator, offers comprehensive aircraft services with 160-plus aircraft in over 25 states. The Completion Center installs medical and law enforcement kits and avionics, serving diverse aviation needs including offshore, utility, VIP, and corporate sectors.
Well, I grew up here from, I think we came in 1986. So I've been here quite a while, saw those changes. So elementary school all the way through junior high and high school. And then went to college in Utah, but then came back pretty soon after. And then my first real job was working for the city of Las Vegas in adaptive rec, and kind of thought that was going to be the career. So we did recreation things for kids with disabilities. So I had an after-school program during the school year, and then summertime had a summer program, so we'd go all day. And then I worked, one of our assignments was to work the marathon for the wheelchair racers.
Right.
And then just watching the Metro guys working the race on the overtime, I'm like, man, these guys look professional. And kind of, it's one of those things. I mean, any cop knows anytime you think you want to do it, nothing else is gonna satisfy that. So ended up trying out in 05 and then got the job in 06. And then really, I didn't have, like Brad, I wasn't geared towards necessarily the air unit. Kind of just seemed unattainable. They came to visit us at the police academy, and like, man, that's cool. But I think everybody does this too. They know what they want to do in the account. Oh, I'm definitely going to go into this. I was definitely going to be a motor cop.
Oh,
like what's cooler than that?
Picturing you as a motor cop is pretty funny.
Isn't it crazy?
Now, yeah.
Yeah,
He's
knowing me now,
cop.
knowing my I know I'm not. Yeah, personality wise, but I mean at the time, like, oh yeah, for sure, that's where I'm going to go. And then after the academy got into plainclothes stuff and investigations, I'm like, oh man, no, this is way cooler than anything to do on a motorcycle. So did that for most of my time. Was in property crimes and then just general assignment investigations for about 9 years or so. So the first half of my career, and then came here and just completely made a shift because it's couldn't be more different. So I did not have a lot of patrol experience. I mean, the first few years there, but there was quite a departure from that and like everyday patrol operations. And I mean, a lot of it doesn't leave you, but there was a lot that they did now that I wasn't familiar with, other than just we were coming to the scene after everything's already static. There's crime tape up. Now I'm going to the guy going, all right, give me a briefing on the scene so we can decide how the search warrant gets written or what we do from there. So to now come back to the beginning part of the call when the action's still hot and people are still running around, it was a big shift for me to jump into the calls at that point. But got there eventually. Yeah. It was training was a steep curve for me, but once I got there, it's the satisfaction of when you do get that catch or you do point somebody out. I mean, it's addicting, and there's nothing better.
Yeah, absolutely. You talked about the beginning of your career. I felt the same way. I thought going to air support was unattainable.
Sure.
You know, how the heck do you do that? I don't know, but I have no experience, so I can't go there. So it wasn't for me an option
I
in my
assumed
mind.
they had, these guys must come from the military.
Yep.
They've got helicopter experience or something like that, because I mean, I knew a little bit about aviation but not what it actually took to get certificates and train and do things like that. So then once I knew what the parameters actually were to come to the unit, I'm like, well, maybe that's something I could do. So started looking. I always wanted to be a pilot, but always just assumed it was just too expensive. Yeah. But my dad gave me some money and started airplane training. So, I mean, I can go into some of our unit and what our requirements are. So, and I think it's similar to a lot of agencies, but so you have to have some pilot certificate. Most people go with fixed wing because it's less expensive.
Yeah.
We have a few. We actually have two people now that are Army. One's an Army veteran, and then one's currently in the National Guard that did their helicopter stuff that way, which is unusual, and I think both would say that's a longer road to take.
Yeah.
For the most part,
unless you really want to be in the Army. Right. I don't know if I'd recommend that to come here.
That's a rough journey. So most of us go and get private fixed wing training, and once you have a private pilot certificate for any airframe, then you're eligible to test for the unit. And then we test like any specialized unit in our agency is a 3-person panel. They put out a position announcement, and then it's on you to decide what you need to do to get prepared for the oral board that is given. And it's a pretty straightforward civil service test, but I want to say we have the longest oral board for any specialized unit.
It runs about almost an hour.
Because
which is pretty long.
They cover aviation topics all through tactical flight officer scenarios and pilot. And it's decision making for the most part. So it's how would you prioritize these calls? There may not be a right answer or a wrong answer, but it's just
given what do you know about the unit?
That's a big part of it too. So it does speak to whether you've come and done ride-alongs and met people and networked and shown your face.
You see the deer and the headlights come on, you're like, oh, no, you're not going to make it.
Right.
Yeah.
And they try to gear it towards who's going to be successful when they get here, because it's a different set of, and the best detective is not necessarily going to be the best TFO or even the best patrol guy.
Oh, absolutely.
And
true.
sometimes there's a little too much emphasis, like, oh, this guy's been in patrol 16 years, he's going to be great as a TFO. Well, maybe. But maybe
sometimes
not.
it pans out.
That's right.
But many times it doesn't.
And it's hard to be, most of the time when people come to our unit, they've been a cop for, say, 7-8 years. Now we're getting younger with that experience, which I think is better, really. But it's kind of a slippery, you're kind of rocking a hard place with it, because you need to be on long enough that you don't mind telling guys on the street what to do. But not on so long that you can't be told what to do by a trainer who's going, hey, you can't, don't do that. Say it like this.
There's a happy medium.
Right.
Sure.
I don't have time to explain to you why, but this is how we do it.
Right.
And so you kind of have to find that medium in between there where you're successful. But so we have people that are detectives that come to the unit. We have people that are motor cops that come. Motor cops have a good experience. They work all over the city, so they kind of know those streets ahead of time. And there's really no recipe for who's going to be successful or not, other than just your own self-awareness and your ability to self-evaluate and look at how you did things and then kind of go, well, okay, I know what I did wrong here. I did this, and this right, but I need to work on this, and this. And we find that the people that can do that are far and away more successful than the overconfident, well, yeah, no, I got everything down in training. So it's so anyway, that's how I got here. So I did the fixed wing training. Came up and somehow got through TFO training and then pilot training, and
Time's flying
from there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And your current position, is there any uniqueness to what you do now?
Not
within
really.
the unit?
I'm a senior pilot only, and then I've been here long enough to rack up those hours. But I work nights. I work a regular patrol shift at night.
He just got a CFI a week ago. He's forgetting
that's
that.
true.
He's
Is that
forgetting
right?
that. He
Tested for
just passed the
CFI
CFI
Friday.
Did you really?
Yes.
He's kind of like breezed over that. That's a pretty big
they
deal.
should
we'll
breeze
get
over
there.
that. That's huge.
This
It felt huge. Hey, thanks.
There you go.
I mean, my goodness, that's a big one too.
It was. There was a lot
Congratulations.
to pack in. Yes,
yes,
thank
it
you.
is.
Appreciate it.
Especially, how long was it between commercial and CFI? How many years?
Well, it could have been.
Approximate.
They made the offer to me to get started about 2 years ago, and then I set it aside for some other just personal reasons. Like I wasn't ready to. I knew what it would take to commit the mental energy to that, and said, "Well, let me hold off and do it another time." So then changed my mind and got back into it, and
because
got it
that
done.
gap, the longer that gap gets, the harder that CFI gets.
For sure.
The more work you have to put in. You realize how much you forgot. Right?
Yes.
I mean, because there's a lot of stuff that we learned and we got. You just went through the commercial. It's been a while since we have, but we remember that.
Right.
And the CFI is very similar.
Yeah. Oh, I was
you're
sharp
adding-
after that
Oh,
commercial
heck
ride.
yeah.
I was sharp.
Heck yeah. But then you wait.
I was
wait
dull.
6 months.
Yeah.
You wait 6 months to take that CFI and the studying that you have to do. So imagine that
And
was
I'm older.
Quite,
I'm
yeah.
older. I didn't
Memory
realize
is good.
I used to be able to memorize things, and I'm going, I can't remember anything.
But you did it. So you remembered enough.
Somehow did it. Yeah.
You remembered enough. That's great.
Yeah. Now you've got to teach it, and but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to get greasy again with all those numbers and all those things, and it came together.
Makes you better. Makes
think
you
so.
better.
These must be
Absolutely.
your drawings up here on the board.
Those are. Yep.
Actually,
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Right.
printed out these little helicopter things. Didn't end up using them for the check ride, but
Wow,
he was
good
prepared.
preparation.
he at least saw him as he walked in and went, okay,
Yes.
now somebody's
This guy's
prepared.
he's getting
I
ready.
wanted to point him out and go, hey, by the way, I made those.
Yeah.
Whether or not we use them later.
You want to talk about this?
For
Go
the
ahead,
folks,
teach a lesson.
Yeah, should have written up there diagrams by Blake.
Farris, yep.
Yeah, Farris.
I started to write my name on the aircraft, but I left them out.
Tail number
Oh,
was a
that's
nice
great.
touch. I like that was a nice touch.
For the folks that aren't watching this on YouTube, they've got a nice whiteboard behind them. It's got 3 different diagrams, 3 different helicopters, and to the right of it, it says, follow the Hangar Z podcast, not the helicopter podcast. I don't know how that got there.
Who wrote that?
I don't know. Probably Halsey. But, I mean, Halsey, we love you. The bottom diagram, it's your 500, and somebody wrote police on there, and I think there's maybe an N number on the.
Yeah, we got an Air 3 tail number.
That's our training ship, Air 3, yeah.
On the bottom skid, on the rear, the rear cross tube, there's a little Z there. Somebody tagged that. I don't know who did that either.
Oh, yeah. That's right. I didn't notice that. A subtle detail there. Very nice.
I don't know
did that either.
Who would do something like that?
I don't know.
Yeah, so for any potential CFIs watching, you can buy these sheets online, this magnetic printable sheet.
Yeah.
And so you can print out things that you can stick on a whiteboard and then
Good
use
tip.
them. It's really cool.
That's a good tip.
We got a nice little diagram of transverse flow effect happening there.
Yeah.
Brad can tell you all about that.
Oh, yeah. We'll get to that next time.
Wow. I want to jump back in something you talked about in your background. You talked about going to plainclothes investigations.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the detective route? Is that something else? What does that mean in Las Vegas Metro?
It's changed now. Back then we had the problem-solving unit, and so every area command had a problem-solving unit that could work on specific things that the management there saw as a particular issue for that area command. And so we were not an official detective unit, but it was kind of like a junior detective unit where you were in plain clothes, plain cars, and you could directly work towards things. Now that's evolved, and we still have some form of that now, but it's evolved.
Yeah, we call it flex now.
Right.
That wasn't flex.
But that was plain clothes?
It was, yeah.
And you, so command would say, we're getting killed on daytime burglaries.
Yep.
And they would come to your unit.
And we would figure out
you'd
some
work
creative way to work our way back to that.
Which include surveillance and following people and investigations and follow-ups and stuff.
Right. And so a lot of all that surveillance training went right into was at least I'm like, okay, now I got something I can use from investigations.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the things that I could bring. And again, it's back to the verbiage, like how do we call out the same way we call a pursuit from the air is how you would call surveillance on the street.
Something,
so it worked.
And we help out our plainclothes guys all the time. Call stuff out.
Oh, yeah.
So they expect that we know that.
Yeah.
So
and I'll ask new trainees, hey, have you been through surveillance training or any kind of mobile surveillance? And if they have, then they're going to have the tools, the way to say things, and not go, well, he's got to turn right here. Yeah. He's going to turn right. I go, objection, speculation.
Yes, that's right.
Yep. Hold on.
We've all said those words. Yeah. He's got to be right there. He's got to do this. And then you realize, that's all
they love to make a liar.
He's going over a curb.
Yeah. There is no rules to these bad guys. They do whatever they want. The other question I have for you from what you said, because you were away from patrol, and now you get the job here, so you impress somebody to get in here. But now you're sitting there working kind of like a patrol officer, but in a helicopter. And you said it was a steep curve.
Yes.
How did that steep curve help you when you later are now training people in the TFO position?
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Hangar Z podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe to hear more stories that promote the personnel and equipment behind the missions in public safety aviation. Lastly, stand by for a message after a word from our sponsors. Cheers. Thank you to our sponsor, Metro Aviation. Metro Aviation, the world's largest family-owned aeromedical operator, offers comprehensive aircraft services with 160-plus aircraft in over 25 states. The Completion Center installs medical and law enforcement kits and avionics, serving diverse aviation needs including offshore, utility, VIP, and corporate sectors.
Thanks to our sponsor, Airbus. Airbus provides the most efficient helicopter solutions to its customers who serve, protect, save lives, and safely carry passengers in demanding environments. Its civil and military helicopters are flying all over the world, making missions possible. Visit airbus.com for more information. Thank you to our sponsor, CNC Technologies. CNC Technologies, serving law enforcement, government, and military markets with tailored mission solutions, system training, and live 24/7 support with CNC.live platform. Explore more at cnctechnologies.com.
Thank you for joining us on this stop of the 2025 Blades of Valor Tour, brought to you by Airbus and Massey Flight Suits. This tour has been incredible so far, and the entire team has learned a great deal from all of our guests. Las Vegas Metro did not disappoint. This unit is truly making a big difference every day in the lives of Vegas residents and the tourists that visit the city by the millions. Thank you to Las Vegas Metro PD for the hospitality and sharing with us everything that you do. Now it's off to San Diego PD for our final stop of the tour. Stay safe, and we'll catch you the next time on the Hangar Z podcast.